So if you look at the hermit's sleeves, the sleeve of his body down below his beard, you will see the English letter Y and I. And if you look above the I, you'll see an obscure J. And the reason why that is because the yod, the letter yod in Hebrew, translates to English as a Y, and we can use an I or a J. And that's why they have that there. And if you look further closely to his beard, his white beard here, you'll see two Hebrew letters. You'll see the Hebrew letter Pei, which Pei means mouth, and Pei is his mouth. They use the letter Pei for his mouth, and I thought that was so interesting. Also, the crease of his cheek. You can see below the crease of his cheek a swoopy thing. It's like a black swoopy, and it kind of looks like the Leo sign, but it's not the Leo sign. It's actually a Hebrew letter, and it's the Hebrew letter Lamb. And I found that so interesting. Because, of course, we haven't gotten to that Hebrew card or that tarot card yet, but Lamb, it represents the Justice card. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So we'll go on, and I would like to talk about the tree of life. And if you was to transpose the tree of life onto the hermit, he would have two sides, the left side and the right side. And it's very important to understand this because we want to understand why he has the star in his hand and why does he have the staff. I told you earlier that Yod means hand. And it's very important to this card too because he has two hands in his card and they're holding something. Okay? And in the tree of life, the left side of the tree is severity, is judgment. And on the right side is God's mercy. And that's very important to this card too. Because as you can see, if you really, really look really closely to his hand on the left, you will see a snake wrapped around his hand. And it's all the way wrapped around, and it's like it's his body. His left side of the body, it wraps all the way around. But it's not on the right side. It's only on the left side. Now, that snake looks like he's eating his hand. In his hand, he's trying to get to the star or the lamp. It looks like it. But that's what the way it looks like to me. It could look like something else to you. But I can tell you that his hands stand for each side of the tree of emanations, or the tree of life, or the tree with the sephira on it. His hands stand for the fifth and the fourth sephira. And that's Gabora, which is severity, which means judgment, and that's on the left side. And that's why you have the snake on there, on his left hand. And on the right side is mercy, and that's hesed, the Hebrew word hesed. And that's why he has the staff in his hand, okay? A very good scripture that really goes with the hermit card is the book of Ezekiel. It's Ezekiel chapter 40. And I'm not going to read it because it's long, but if you just was to read just like the first little bit of it, you'd see exactly why I'm telling you that it goes with the hermit. And it does, because most of the, all of the scriptures, they're parallel to the other ones. Everything is being said over and over again, just different ways and in symbolisms. It kind of gets redundant when you understand the symbolisms. So maybe like when I'm done with this, or some other time in your time of the day, you can go and read Ezekiel 40, and not the whole thing, maybe just a little bit of it, and look at your hermit card while you do it. And you will be able to understand. So as we go on, if you will go down to, we'll start with this star and the measuring rod here, because this is what the staff is for. When you read Ezekiel 40, you'll find that out. That the hermit's golden rod is for measuring the temple, because he has perfect measurement. And when he went to the temple, he measured the doors, the windows, the posts, the arches, the porch, the walls, the inner court, the outer court, the height, the depth, the north, the south, the east, and he measured the most holy place in the west. He measured it all. And after it got measured, the temple was closed. No one could enter the temple because the Most High, the Ancient of Days, he walked through it. And after the temple was closed, what happens? You see, after he measured with his right hand the temple, there's a little itty bit of red in his hand, his left hand. And I told you, remember, the left hand means severity, which is Gabora, and that's judgment. Judgment is in his left hand. Okay? He's holding a lamp. Within that lamp, what we see is the Star of David. It's obscure, but we could tell it's the Star of David. It's a hexagram. And to understand the hexagram, you have to go to the Tree of Life, because the lower 6 sephira on the Tree of Life represent the hexagram, which they call it the microprospis. And when you find out what the microprospis is, you find out that it is the sun, the S-O-N. So if we put it together, because if you see my last video, you know the macroprospis is the Father. He's the macro. The sun is the micro. We have the micro and the macro on here. We have the sun in the lamp, the star. We have the red, the little bit of red in his hand, which is Gabora, is justice. And he can't hold that. He can't hold that lamp too long. His patience will run out. The loving kindness and mercies that he hands to us with the staff, it's going to run out. And he will drop that star. And it will fall to the earth to unlock the bottomless pit, the deepness of the abyss. You can read it in Revelations 9, which is interesting because the Hermit card is 9. Remember the system, there's 2 systems running through. Yeah. So when you read Revelation chapter 9, you'll understand.